All right, everyone, welcome to episode 10 of the How Are the Hops podcast. I'm Chris from How Are the Beers on Instagram, and as always, joined by David and Alex from the Hop Guys on Instagram. We're doing something a little bit different on today's episode, and we're joined by Dave and Andy, who have both built what looks like an awesome pub shed. So before we get going with the first beers, lads, do you just want to introduce yourself and give your pub sheds a bit of a plug?
Yeah, so I'm Dave from the Hardy Arms, from Leicester, as you can probably tell from the shirt on the ceiling. Run my own Instagram account, the Hardy Arms. Just normally on there, just posting pictures of beers that we drink in the bar and pub visits with friends. Yeah, and me and Dunn have met over Instagram. We're friends. and never actually met.
That is very true, Dave. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I'm Andy Dunn at the Dunn Inn, because nobody leaves sober here. When Dave eventually does arrive at said pub, he'll be frequented with many beverages, to which he probably will not be able to walk out. Luckily, he's had a new motorhome. But yeah, I got my garden pub shed up and running literally just before the very first lockdown last year, so timing couldn't have been better. It's been the little escape pod at the end of the garden, and it will continue to be so. Now more and more people can hopefully visit.
Nice. Cool, man. Right, do you want to get cracking with this first beer? So we've all tried to choose one from round our way. Me and David and Alex have picked the same ones because obviously we live very close to each other, and I know you guys have picked different ones. So we'll get cracking, and I'll let who do you think? Andy, why don't you go first, mate?
Yeah, cool. So my first beer, guys, is from Limestone Brewery. They're literally 3 miles away down the road. They started in 2008 and actually went to one of their very first brewery tours when they got the sort of brewery all set up. This is one of their very first beers they made. They made quite a few different ones, and with them being in stone, they're all named after it. So this is the Foundation Stone. It's a golden ale, 4.5%.
Nice. Dave, what you on?
So I'm on from Round Corner Brewery. I've actually never tried this, but I thought we'll give it a bit of a tasting this evening. It's just their Helly's Lager, 5.3%. So yeah, which nice golden colour, normal lager. So give it a go.
That's good. Nice starter.
Cool. Hodge, do you want to introduce ours?
This is Overkill Brewery. Pretty damn local to us. A place the brewery's underneath a pub, a favourite pub of mine. They do some wicked craft ales and they do some absolutely banging burgers. I think one of the ones was something like the Dreams of Cheryl Cole, and it was a burger with a Greggs sausage roll stacked on with baked beans on it, which is mint. They're a crazy bunch, and they make kind of good beers. They mainly just brew for their kind of like pub chain, and then whatever they make extra all goes to local bottle shops, which is quite cool. This one's the Haze Craze IPA. I haven't had this one before. This is one of the ones that I haven't tried. So
Great.
It's a canny little colour on it, like, to be fair. Nice little haze to it.
Yeah. Tastes almost in between, like New England and a West Coast. Got a bit piney to it. It's nice.
Very good.
And that a lot. Awesome, man. So, lads, what made you build the pub sheds then, other than the fact that they're awesome? But what made you do it?
Go first.
Well, I built mine 2019. So we basically moved to this house, and there was like a dead space in the garden. There's no sun that gets on here. There was nothing you can do here. And I said, that is banging for a pub shed, that is. So it's not massive. It's 10 foot by 8. So it's quite a tight bar. But we've had 13 people in here on a night once. It was a bit, it was like being in a nightclub, but absolutely hilarious night. So yeah, it was just one of those things that's what was started just to be going to be like a little pagoda over this area where you just sit outside in the summer, then turned into, no, let's just buy a summer house and do it so you can sit in here all year round, put the heating on, watch a film, put some football on, and is our little home from home, should say. We always kind of in here having dinner and whatnot. But obviously since lockdown, this has been the best thing since sliced bread, and everybody seems to be jumping on the bandwagon now of doing pub sheds. Hey, done.
Yeah, that's correct. So I used to live in a very small terraced house with a tiny little yard for a garden. And the main requirement of moving house when we did in 2018 was I wanted a pub shed at the bottom of the garden. That was the A1 rule for space. So much so that we managed to find a plot on a new estate where I had a bit of leverage with the guy about the space behind the garage when he was building the site. So put him right on a few boundaries, you know, so we can make space for it. And ended up, I bought basically mine's just like a prefab summer house, all paid lining, and then basically I just built a bar inside it. I think mine is probably a little bit smaller than Dave's in terms of space inside. I don't think I'd get 13 in, but like I said, I just literally finished it before the first lockdown. So I finished putting the light. Well, you can see on my Instagram if you go onto it. It's literally like the week before was I finished putting the pallets around the side of the bar, and yeah, it's just been an ever-evolving project. So back end of November, I put a TV cabinet in. I found a place for all my can labels now, so that literally covers this cabinet at the side of me. Yeah, it's always fully stocked, and hopefully I can get 14 people in it just to beat Dave by one.
Hey, we can have a go one day. We'll definitely have a go at that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but I've managed to got we've sort of set the garden out outside, so I've actually got a beer garden as well. So the double doors open up, and when the sun's out, you can sit there all day. It's great.
Nice.
Proper setup that.
How'd you get the permission to do it? Because my lass is never going to allow that.
I just have to give her a little gin section. So we've got a shelf up here full of gin. And to be fair, my wife's she's had like girls' nights in here. You know, she's had the girls over and they've had like a night in here, and I just leave them to it. So it's it's my bar, but she uses it.
Yeah.
Did you get protective over it the first time that you let her in?
Yeah. I said to her, this is how everything works. This is where all the glasses go. This is how this works. Like, still now, she doesn't really come in here. Like, if I say to her, I'll go, you know, flick all the lights on and stuff in the bar, she'd be like, where is it? Where are they all? I'm like, oh, I'll just leave it. I'll do it myself.
Yeah, it's called orientation, Dave. That's what it is. So, like, it's like, that's where the glasses go. If you need the remote for the TV, that's where that is. If you need the light, if you need the light for put on, because Sam's been using it for some social events with work during like the lockdown periods and things like that. So we've been able to like orientate the TV towards the bar, so she'll be able to stand behind the bar. And she's done like cocktail nights in here. It's like you've been hosting her own show. And I said to her, you should get yourself on there. But yeah, Sam's very much a rum and vodka girl. I've got a gin cabin up there, but that basically gets consumed by relatives usually. So that's been stocking up in preparation for people coming round. So
that's great. How long did it take us to like from start to finish, or is it like a thing where it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and there's never going to be an end to what turns up?
From grass to building, mine was about 4 months because I had to get a like concrete base in. I had to wait for the building to be delivered. But the guys came on the beginning of August 2019 to build the building. And it was one of the hottest days of the year. And I'm so glad I paid for installation because these guys were almost passing out. Luckily, I've got beverages available, but these guys, honestly, they were this colour by the end of the day. They'd been on it, 2 of them, building it for pretty much 8 hours. And yeah, they did a sterling job. And then I spent probably from the middle of October 2019 till March, just basically fitting out the inside, building the bar, working it out. That's the main thing you don't realise is you've got an idea in your head of how you want it. And then as soon as you've got the space in front of you, you're like, So originally my bar was going to go sort of down one side only, just so you've got plenty of seating space. But then I thought, well, I've got a massive garden and a double doors on it. So if it's nice weather, people just sit outside. So I'll put the bar this way. So I've got more space for everything else. Rather than beers and glasses, yeah, that's it. And which I started with a very small collection of glasses, and now I've got like 2 shelves absolutely rammed full of glasses. So.
Nice.
Dave, what about you? How long did yours take?
To be fair, we pretty much knocked this. So again, prefab summer house. We just pretty much knocked this up in a day, with a couple of mates and stuff, and then over a whole like a Saturday and a Sunday weekend, pretty much fitting out the actual bar and everything else. So all I started off with was obviously empty shell and a fridge, and that was it. The most important thing was the fridge. So we basically built the whole bar over the fridge and all that kind of stuff. So, and then everything. I mean, I've done those. I'm a pain in the arse for things like this. I'm constantly changing things. So I had a TV on the wall, wasn't big enough, put a bigger TV on. I'm already changing the floor in there because it was carpet. I'm changing it to laminate. It's just like I got things given to me, or I found things for cheap or for free, and then now I'm slowly replacing it because it's wearing out a little bit. So it's just yeah. I mean, I'm constantly messing about in here doing bits, and I think it's just I scroll through eBay and I look at all different like new things, or just type in pub sheds and see what people are selling. You go, well, that could work, and then you end up just modifying it. And so I think it was just a case of it was done over a weekend or within a week, but then we keep adding more to it.
What you don't realise, lads, is it just ends up an absolute bomb site all the time. It's like it's just you've either been in here on a Friday night and had a few, or me and Dave do the lives as we do, and you come in the next day and you're just like, what happened in here? Like it's just a tiny little room, and there's just stuff. There's just stuff everywhere. Like even if it's been a cold night, we've had the blankets out or sat outside. It's just every time you come in, it is literally like running your own little mini pub. I think it's one of those. People keep asking me if I'd have like proper draft system put in. I've got like a shed behind here. I could do it. I've got proper electrics in here, everything. But I just think it's just that other thing that's just a pain in the backside. It already takes me a while to sort it out after I do. That's why I've got one of these machines. You know what I mean? It's just something. It's just one of those things. Like Dave said, it's just evolving all the time. So you just always think of something new to just go, oh, I like that. I'll put that in there. And then you're like, where's that going to go? And you're like, I've got no idea.
Don't know. I think it's like with it's more of like the decorative stuff as well. It's like, you know, we buy all these like signs, all the tin signs, and you just keep finding them popping up on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. I mean, and you just think,
Dave did me a sterling with this vedette sign.
That's very good.
They're like rocking horse doodads. Those Dave managed to find it on Marketplace for 15 quid. I snapped his hand off for it. He didn't realise that lady had 2 and they were so good. He went back and the lady had sold the other one. So he actually sent me this one and didn't get one himself. He's like, picking himself.
I'm taking that off the wall when I come up.
I'm gonna go with you. Nice, I like it.
9/10 of the law means I own that because I picked it up.
That's what
I need to start working on the missus, because we moved house in November, and we know that this isn't going to be we're forever home, so they've probably got another move in us in about 4 or 5 years, give or take. And then when we move, then it's happening. Like I've decided, ever since I've followed you guys and stuff, it's it's happening. I need one in the garden.
To be fair, it all started from our old house. We literally had 2 optics on the wall in our kitchen, and I had the Krupp's sub beer tap, and it kind of like stemmed from there. Really, we started in the garage. I've obviously had built a little worktop over the dryer and another fridge that's in there, and then had a dartboard in there. And then I said, I think I'm running out of room because I had that many glasses, and people were coming over and we were pushing the car out of the garage just so we could have a few beers in there. And I was like, we need a bar now. That's it.
Like I said, I was in a little terrace house before. It was kind of like we have everybody has that one shelf like Dave has behind him. That one shelf where you've got all your bottles of alcohol that's stored ready for somebody coming round. And it was got to the point in the old house where we were like, well, we've got a little shelf, and then we've got a cupboard, and now we've got a cupboard under the stairs. Under the stairs near the bathroom at the back, because it was a proper old-fashioned terrace house toilet towards the back end of the house. There's like a section above where the fridge was that was got. It's just like people coming round, and Sam, like I said, Sam does makes a little cocktail. So she's known for being a bit lead-handed. Do you know what I mean? Like putting in a little bit too much. And
I call it barmaid.
Yeah, that's it. Barman's measures, we call them. But it's just one of those, and it's between the two of us. We when we moved here, it was like, I want that facility, because we always like people coming around, we entertain people, their friends, family, whatever. And it was just one of them opportunities we couldn't pass up. So it was like, that is what I want. Yeah, like I said, it's got like, there's some other purpose to it. So behind here, I've got like my lawnmower and all that sort of stuff in there. Do you know what I mean? It's actually worth its purpose as just a shed, but it's more than a shed. It's good.
I definitely need to put the request in, because I'm sat next to about 30 different types of booze right here, like all packed up, ready to move. Like, but I'll try and work on it. I don't think it's going to cut out, but I'll try and work on it.
It needs to, yeah. Like, well, you lads know what I say about my fridge. Like, it's just, we've got quite a big fridge, and it's half of it's just rammed with cans, and it's honestly, my wife keeps saying you need to get them down to a reasonable measure, like, because they're just taking the piss. Kind of
to get drinking.
It's a full-time job, Chris. It's a full-time job. It's become one of those things.
It's hard work.
I've got a nice glass-fronted fridge here. You know what I mean? That's the proper job. Yeah, fully stocked. Turns out I need that, and I've got a fridge in the garage, and I've got like them like IKEA, and there are other ones available, wooden crates.
Yeah,
I've got two of them rammed down by my feet. Like, honestly, it's become one of those things where you go, oh, I fancy the look of that.
Yeah,
Park it with everything else. So you're just like, oh man, it's just become a job. But it's a great job. If I got paid for doing it, that's it. That's all I do.
I don't know about you lads, but the amount of beers where I'm like, I need that, and you get them, and then not even a week later, I need that, and the ones you were worried about missing out on just get slowly pushed to the back of the fridge.
Yeah. The worst one is when you get messages from certain Andy Dunn today and going, Dave, have you seen this? Sam, 8 cans of beer and 2 glasses later, I've bought it.
Right, Dave, I've put an order in today because there's a nano brewery that I've spotted who've got stock on this website. So I just bought their 4 cans. But while I was there, I thought, might as well buy 4 others. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those. It's like, ooh.
It's like
it's a grown-up
in for a penny, in for a pound.
It's a grown-up sweet shop. You remember back when you were a kid, you'd just go into those sweet shops, and there'd be like loads of different types of things, and you'd be like, you would definitely go one of them. But your mum and dad would be like, no, or no.
But you've got nobody to tell you no.
They can't do that now. Like, it's just like, you one of them. Yeah. And the only thing that restricts is your bank balance.
It is. Like,
takes a hit.
You go on to buy a couple of cans, and you've spent like 30, 40, 50 quid easily before you know it. You know what I mean? And it's the bank balance take a hit.
I went down to our local bottle shop after I'd been to a local brewery for a couple of pints after work, and I wasn't meant to be spending any money on craft that month. I was trying to have a nice break and just drink what I've got, and then went in half cut, and I was like, lovely, yes, all this plus 40 quid later. Oh shit.
The thing is, you know, when you go and go to your bottle shops and you buy your craft beers, do you buy one of each beer, or would you buy 2 of that so you can like have one to taste and then actually one to? Because I always find that I try one out and then I have a second one to like enjoy it and actually sit down and chill with the beer.
I only buy one normally, unless it's like really, really good. Do you know what I mean? And then might buy another one, but on the whole, probably one normally. But I know what you mean though, because there's a couple you go back to and you think, Jesus Christ, that's actually nicer than I thought, or that's actually not as nice as I first thought, because I was, 3 tippers in or something. You know what I mean?
You never know.
I tend to buy 2 because, like you say, I think get one to try and one to enjoy it, especially if one's a bit too fresh, a bit too green. It's always good waiting a couple of weeks and then you actually get the full value of it. I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I'd never have that problem. Alex, because time I've got them, like Chris said before, it's like, ooh, there's another set of beers. It's just like dangling carrots in the distance. It is swines, we are swines. And I've noticed, literally, like, I'll put my hand up. Like, I started this at my Instagram. What are we now? So I started it in August 2019. My Instagram, just literally focused on like the building of the shed and things like that. And I started drinking like craft beers probably only about 2 months before that particular point, and that was literally because I'd got the Titanic Brewery, which I've got one of their beers in a bit. They opened like a little, they've got like a branch out pubs and things like that, and they've got like, they opened one down the road from us, which was like a bar cafe. But in there they got a fridge, and it's the first time I'd seen a bar with a fridge in it with like different cans in. So it was like, oh, I'll have one of them now, but I'll take 2 of them home with me. And it was just, that's how it started. It was just like the labels bring you in, and then it's just like, I like that. What else have you got? And that was it. That's it. It just snowballs from there. So
I don't know about you lads, but I found having my Instagram account, because I've drank craft for a couple of years possibly, but I only started the account during the first lockdown. Probably like a lot of people did, but it made it so much worse. Having the account made it so much worse, because you always want the latest ones, or because you follow so many breweries and other beer bloggers, like you see all these beers that you want, whereas you probably wouldn't see all that normally if you were.
And I think the actual situation that we're in has expedited that a bit more, because breweries haven't been able to put cask beers into bars, and the stuff you don't see, because like say it's a brewery near you guys, the beer that you're on now, like me and Dave would never know about that beer, because potentially that's always in cask in your local pubs. The same with the limestone. They've started bottling it. They started bottling it a few years ago, but it's very rarely outside the area. But like you said, once you're on Instagram and you start seeing, like, you'll follow like the odd person who's really like had their account for many years and they've got X number of followers, and next minute they're doing like tipper weeks where they're doing like 5 different massive beers, and you just think, oh, I could have a go at one of those, and you just think to yourself, you get it, and then you look at the percentage and go, well, I can't drink that this week. I've got to save that till next Friday. You know what I mean? It just becomes that. It's like a chain reaction, though, isn't it? Because you go, well, I'll have that one. What else have they recommended? And you start looking for. I started looking at different online shops and things like that, and it just escalated from there. Really,
it is, mate. Honestly, it's like Dave said, it's hard graft. Like, I mean, I love it, but it's hard graft.
It's hard work. You buy it, you go on your bottle shops, or you online or anything like that. Dunn knows I pick beers on 2 things: can artwork and high ABVs. That's me done. So I've got like loads of like single cans of 440 ml that are all like 7.5%, 8%, 9% beers, and I'm thinking that can only be drank on a Saturday night. That can't be drank Wednesdays, Thursdays, or Fridays.
Yeah, Dave, you're lucky you don't like dark, like stouts and stuff like that, because you'll end up with a stout shelf like I've got. Like, yeah. I've got like 10 beers just sitting here, just not even in the fridge, just ready to go.
Yeah, it's just, you buy all these beers, and I've got all these like great ideas of drinking them, and I'm like, yeah, gonna do them this weekend. And I think, well, I can't have them 3 together because I'll be absolutely alliterated by the end of the night. So I've just got like a stack of 440 ml like cans, because I keep going to all these bottle shops like online, and I just keep buying them, and I'm like, I actually need just a normal, couple of like Beaver Towns or Cannonells and all that kind of stuff. I've got nothing like that. It's just all 440 mils a minute I've
got. Who's ready for the next can?
Yeah, I've cracked mine. I've got like settle a bit, but mine is a new brewery.
Yeah.
This is one that's literally started within the last 4 months, say. I think, no, actually, tell that, it might be November time, just before Christmas. So these are called Kickabow Brewery, and there's a saying around Stoke, which is if you're crossing a Kickabow against a woe and edit till he bosts, it's their sort of go-to name. So that's it, Kickabow Brewery. It's got all like the pottery sort of. But this is the second beer they've done. The first one I missed out on, which was a porter, a coffee porter, but this is a German wheat beer, and they try and use English hops to regenerate what is the classic sort of clove banana wheat beer, and it's actually called Yes, We Have No Bananas. But if you can look at the colour of it, it's literally right up there with the.
Yeah, it's close.
It smells amazing as well.
Looks nice. Looks very nice. Dave, what you want, bud?
So we're going for the Keep the Faith. So by Keep the Faith Brewery in Leicester, the West Coast IPA. Again, not had this beer before. Recommended and bought at the weekend. So it's quite a cloudy, hazy beer, which is this 5.8%.
Nice.
Good.
Cool. Alex, do you want to introduce this, or do you want me to go? It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm happy to do this. Well, considering the brewery is about 200 meters down the road from my parents' house, it's Alpha Delta Irene, another West Coast. Good little brewery. Gone through a few different iterations of branding, but I think it's settled on Alpha Delta and has found its calling. But a good dark color, unlike the last West Coast I had from a Spanish brewery, which was very disappointing. But yeah, it's good. Complex flavor, man. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what to think of it at the minute.
Yeah, it's what's its percentage? 7.5. It's oh shit! I've just nearly spilled it. All right.
Oh, mild panic over.
Nearly. It's got all your typical West Coast flavors, but I know what you mean, Alex. It's got a little something more to it, but I don't know if it's that little bit more is overdone.
I think it's malt, isn't it? It's a huge amount of malt coming through it. It's almost it's almost like a porter kind of stout side, that toastiness coming through it.
Yeah, kind of get like the Christmas cake, like caramelized stuff out then. It's nice. I've been drinking it. It'll go down just as well.
It's like it's a nice beer, but it's there's something to it that makes it a little bit different to what you would expect from a West Coast. If that makes sense. Alpha Delta have got a rock bar / beer bar in town at the minute, which is going to be quite cool. It's under like a archway. That's going to be quite a popular little place, I think. Like, have you guys got anywhere near you that is a bit quirky and a bit different? I know you said you've got like a couple of nano breweries and micro breweries, but what's like a standout kind of craft bar as such, or anything that's like because we've got quite a few kind of local stores that have pushed their bins out of the way and then made something out of like the bin yard, if that makes sense, to have a drink in. Have you got anything like that?
Yeah, the only one near me is this one. There's like a garden centre and like walk around like old. It's called Trentham Gardens, and there's Trentham Gardens Craft Bar. It's a Trentham Craft Bar. The guy who runs it started probably a couple of years ago, leased a shop, thinking just try it, see if there's any football. And I think since he's come back the other side of this, where people can sit outside, I think it's booming for him. So I think before he struggled with I think a lot of shops struggle with like keeping beer. He's got a lot of taps and things like that, but I think we went. It was the first bar we'd actually been out to, which was not last Friday, Friday before, and we sat outside there, and he's kind of got extended license till sort of 10 o'clock. But it literally is like, it looks like sort of chalets, cabins type shops. It's like a little shopping village, but he's managed to sort of put a niche in, so he's got a bit with a cover over it and that sort of stuff. But then there's some benches that sit out amongst the trees and things. So it's probably the quirkiest thing we've got. The only other one is not too far away from me, which is the Beer Hideout. And he basically it was originally like a lady's clothing shop that his grandmother owned. Then it got taken over and made into a bottle shop, and then he's taken it one step further and turned it into a bar and a bottle shop. But he's only got a few seats sitting outside of the market square, but that's probably as close as we've got, really.
Cool, man. What's the scene like Leicester?
Well, we've got the village we live in. We've got the little local, so the Charnwood Brewery micro pub, which can probably host about 50 people on a Friday, Saturday night kind of thing. So it's quite good, and it's like normally only like one or two people working at all, because it's it's not that it's not busy, it's that you don't need loads of people working there, so it's quite nice. And that's it for the village. So like really we'd have to like venture out to Leicester. I want to say there's not a great deal in Leicester. I think the best place we've probably really got is about Brewdog. But
at least you've got one of them. Stoke is so disjointed, we can't even keep a what was it called? Some
Weatherspoons.
No, we can't keep one of them. That's the one thing. That's the one thing that's aching for be open. I mean, people queue at 7 o'clock in Stoke at Weatherspoons. They queue. They love it. They will absolutely love it.
I mean, we've got some fantastic little like village pubs like in the other village surrounding for us where we can walk to and from. I wouldn't say they're outstanding for the beer that they sell, but it's just nice to go places with decent food if you do want food, but they are like proper old man drinking pubs kind of thing, which is, don't get me wrong, sometimes they do have like guest beers and stuff and they are decent, but I wouldn't say they're outstanding all the time on beers.
There's a brewery, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, it's called Jowles's. They're based at Market Drayton, which is not too far from here. Basically, their whole business is based on cask beer. They, during this whole thing, have not produced a single bottle. They started doing some mini kegs towards the end of before Christmas. But they've got like local bars that are proper, like they've spent time and money bringing these places back to life. So it's like stepping back in time when you go in these places. So you get all that atmosphere. But their beers that they've got like one that's it's like the blonde beer, which is the lightest beer that they've got. They've got pale, but they've also got like a porter, which is like I think it's called Slumbering Monk. Which if you guys ever try and get a hold of their beer, like go and sit in one of their bars, you can quite comfortably sit in there and sit for hours. But again, they can't open obviously until next week. They've got no beer garden, so I think once they get back open again, I'll definitely there's like a bar like 40 minutes walk from my house, so that'll be definitely somewhere I'll go.
I mean, I think we're really, really lucky with the craft scene in Newcastle because it's just with like whether you go off breweries, tap rooms, or like craft beer bars that we've got floating around Newcastle, they're awesome. Like, I mean, I don't know if you lads have seen on the internet or whatever, but like Wylam Brewery is such a fucking spectacular building.
I know, it looks amazing. I want to go there.
So good. If he's ever in Newcastle, give us a shout and we'll go. But then you've got like by the River Brewco, which is a bit like Wylam's kind of
Wylam's sister, isn't it?
The brewery, and that's like a tap room with just outdoor seating, and it's right on the Tyne, and it's awesome. Like amazing.
A couple of years ago, me and my missus, we came to Newcastle for a weekend, and we went into. It's not far from the station at the top. Is it Newcastle Tap or something?
Yeah.
Like barrels on the wall.
Yeah.
I was just like, I can stay in here. I'm fine. This is great for me. I'll have one of them. Can have a third of that. Literally between the two of us, we've got.
That's not even the best place in Newcastle.
I know. That's it. It's just literally what we found because it was like just walking. It was like this looks all right. We'll go in there.
To be fair, Newcastle Tap's good because they've normally got a massive range of.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, between two of us, we had 10 drinks.
Yeah, but there's like, like the lads say in Newcastle, there's just so much that we can, if you are in Newcastle, we'll take you out. But like, there's some serious places you can get slaughtered in. Like,
I think for us, we've like me and one of my good mates, we've been to Nottingham. We go to like Nottingham on the train because you've got Neon Raptor there, you've got Black Iris, you've also then got Brewdog bars, and there's a lot of little like hidden gems in there, like little craft beer places. The ones that you look at them and think that shouldn't have what it's got in it, but it has got decent beers in there and stuff. So we normally get the train into Nottingham for us. So I think that's probably just because of my ignorance of not going to Leicester a lot because I don't really like it. But so
when I suppose when we're talking about like scenes where you guys live and stuff, what got you guys into craft in the first instance?
Well, was there like one beer which kind of kind of gave you that
To
transition.
be fair, as we probably all were at some point, I was a massive cider drinker. Like he was just one of them when I was at university and things. He was just you just spend as little
Cheap.
as possible and become absolutely ruined. But I think it was just got to a point where I was like, it just became too sweet. So I was looking for something different, and it basically started with cask beer. To be honest, Alex, it was like one of them where it was like I went into a bar and I was just a normal average pub, and it's just kind of like not just looking for the bottles and that sort of stuff, but actually what have you got? Like what I normally I'm a bugger for going into bars where there's like proper beer and actually just turning when somebody says what do you want to drink, I'll say what do you recommend, and I'll literally go off that. I went to the place that started it for me actually was a bar in London called, I think it's a Fuller's bar now, but it's called the Lamb and Flag, and it's in a little alleyway just outside Covent Garden, and it was all the floor was wonky, it was like musky, like the whole thing was just like stepping back in time, and the landlord behind it was a proper capital D, big youth behind the bar, scraggly beard, greasy hair, and I just said, I was with a friend at the time. I says, "I'll have 2 of your best pints," and he was like, "Good lad," like that. And he literally pulled me these 2 beers. I can never remember what they were, but honestly, they were absolutely amazing. Got this like it was before like this sort of hazy beers and things like that. It was just crystal clear golden ale that we had, and I just went, "We can sit in here for days drinking that." That's how good it was, and it sort of changed my mindset about what I drink. So then it just got to the point where I was like, what's this? And then, like I said before, when that bod place opened, well, there was one at the railway station, but it was the first time I'd actually seen a bar where you could sit and have a drink or something to eat, and then a takeaway section for the fridge. And it was just like, I'll have one of them. And it sort of snowballed from there, really, for me.
Yeah.
Did the barman just pull out what was out of date and he went,
"Oh,
it's a sour beer"?
Honestly, David, it could have been absolute drip tray for all I knew. Like, but it tasted amazing. I don't even know what it was. Like I said, I think it's a Fuller's bar now, so it could have been a Fuller's. I don't know. But it's been Starbucks, let's say, right now, that place. So if you went to find that bar, you'd go in, it didn't have that same atmosphere as like when we went in that time. And it was just kind of like, just after like the smoking ban had come in and all that sort of changes happening. And it was just one of them moments where you just like, that is a really good beer. And it just flipped the switch.
Yeah. That makes sense. Dave, what about you, bud?
Do you know what? I was quite a Foster's kind of guy. You know, when you were 18, 19, I think that's all I'm ever going to drink is Foster's. And my missus says to me this day, "Oh, you used to say you'd never drink anything but Foster's." Now I wouldn't drink the stuff. I wouldn't touch it. But do you know what? It was a day of sat in my brother's garden. He went, I tried that. And it was Camden Ales. And I went, that's disgusting. And now it's my favourite beer. Because I think I drank that much of it that night. Woke up the next day and I loved it. But then from there onwards, it was kind of let's try, like the Beaver Towns where you could get, neck oil, Gamma Ray, like when supermarkets were selling craft beers, but people thought, well, that's still just rubbish beer. And then it was Brewdog's OG Hazy, which is the 7% one, the original when they actually made it quite good. Before they started changing it all just to normal Hazy J's, bringing it out at 5%. That mainly started a lot of these, let's look at higher ABV beers and look at all these different styles of beers that are out there. And that's probably about where it went from. So yeah, Camden's, and obviously then they brought the off-menu IPA out, which for me is like drinking water because I love drinking it. But yeah, and definitely the Brewdog beers, which sounds really commercial because at the time that's all you could get in supermarket was commercial beers and things like that. Nowadays, you've got Tiny Rebel, which are a little bit more commercial, but are in supermarkets as well. You've got like what me and Dunn are doing at the weekend. On Friday, we're doing a commercial supermarket craft beers now. it's so much easier now to get into craft beers than it was 2 years ago. And then from there onwards, now I can't drink. It sounds really daft. I can't really drink normal lagers anymore. I go into a pub and I go, what's in bottles? Because I don't like anything that's on tap, and they've always got something on tap, or in bottles. But a lot of it is as well was the Kickabow Brewery micro pub when that opened in the village. I'd never drank a cask hand pulled beer until I went down to there, because I always thought, no, my dad drinks it. He's an Abbott's pedigree, that kind of bloke. Proper bitter kind of guy. And I was like, oh, this is disgusting. I hate it. But now, they've gone down there. They make some fantastic beers. Mm. And if it's hand pulled, I'll order it all day long. They're literally now, when we walk in there, obviously prior to lockdown, the barmaid was just saying, Dave, try that one. And it was a case of just giving me a third of a glass or something like that. And she'd just pour it because she knew I wasn't massively a fan of them. So I'd want to try a little bit before, you go off and buy pints and stuff. But yeah, I think they've definitely got me into more of the different styles of beers as well. And, it doesn't always have to be fizzy carbonated beers that you're drinking as well. You can have these flat room temperatured beers, as I like to call them. So yeah, I think definitely gone from a Foster's to never drinking Foster's to then drinking completely opposites. And like, I give my brother stuff and he's like, this is absolutely vile, like these dank beers and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is beautiful, this is. But you know what I mean? So some people, it just tastes like sweaty socks.
Perfect.
Boiled cabbage. That's the one I hear.
But I mean,
boiled cabbage.
Me and Dunn have done beers, and I'm thinking, Dunn, I'd never have drank any of these beers until now. And then I just think, no, give it a go now. As long as it's got alcohol in it.
I bought the last batch we did every day with the overtone beers, and it just he was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is amazing. Every time we crack the next one open, this is amazing. It was just like
it just got better.
It was just one after the other. Yeah.
I don't drink stouts, and don't get me wrong, I don't like coffee, but I want to drink it, and I like the sound of these stouts that people are bringing out, like the dessert in the cans and the vocation beers that are bringing out and all that kind of stuff, and salt. And I want to drink them because I like the taste, like the sound of them and things like that. And I just can't drink them. I hate the stuff, but I want to. And it's like sour beers. I've had like 2 sour beers that I like, but I'd never go to a pub and order a sour beer or go off on a bottle shop and buy myself a can of a sour beer. No, I'm still quite a IPA, hazy kind of guy. But yeah, I still can't venture into porters and all that kind of stuff.
If you persevere, I think it'll change because, I mean, like I say, like when you were younger and stuff, like me and Alex used to go and drink at a place called the Brandon, and it would be like £1.90 pints of Foster's, and we were like, this is the best thing. I'm never going to pay more than £2.50 for a pint. And
until you got bloated and moved on to a wild and gold.
Yeah, yeah. And then it kind of moves. It kind of moves on. Your taste will change, and I definitely say there's some cracking porters out there that don't taste like coffee, but it's not the ones that are like the Musden ones and dessert in the can, where they're very sweet, they're very quite sickly. They're more like drinking like a brandy or a port in terms of the strength of the alcohol and also the flavors. Like the Plum porter that you're about to have, Andy, is actually really, really nice. And there's a couple other ones. There's a local one in York, in Worksop, which do wicked stouts, but it's not your normal ideology of it's really toasted, it's got loads of coffee. There's so much kind of more to them. I definitely say branch out, because I mean, Alex will say as well, he's never really been a fan of stouts or porters, but as like he'll tell you now, he's really kind of come through with some of the flavors of them.
Yeah, well, it's like this Christmas, I kind of set myself a challenge, right? I'm going to have one porter or one stout a week. I kind of did start off going for like some ones you mentioned, like some of the sweeter ones. And there was one which really kind of convinced me, and it was the S43 pumpkin spice latte, which had like a can, like a Starbucks cup. And that just kind of like, I don't know, just something clicked in me. It's actually, I'm going to try so much more of these. And I just went to our local bottle shop I literally bought 5 or 6 cans, 50 quid later, came out, and yeah, well, to be honest, I got 2 of them in the fridge because I kind of moved away from preferring the sweeter ones to actually preferring more malty ones. And I've got this double chocolate salted caramel brownie porter stout, whatever it is, in the fridge, and it's probably going to remain in the fridge because unless I run out of ice cream at night or something like that, then
Yeah.
but yeah, I moved away from the sweet ones quite quickly because I think my kind of palate changed and actually found something which I quite enjoyed. And there's a lot of variation in IPAs, but it's exactly the same in stouts. And I think it's the same in sour beers. We've had these conversations previously that there's a style of beer out there for everyone. It doesn't matter kind of if you're a fan of it or not. I think there's just so much to try, and it's just I think we're quite lucky to live in a world where there is so much to try, and you're not going to love every beer you drink. I'm sure we've got a list as long as of beers we love, beers we hate, and we're never going to try again, but we won't mention those.
I find I don't know about you guys, but I find my beer tastes change depends on the season as well. Like it's weird for me. Like when the summertime comes round and it's like let's say it's the hottest day, I will still revert back to have a cider as a refresher away from sort of crafted beers type things. And then the winter time, I'll tend to I'll sit down, mallow in front of the TV, nice snuggle, might drop a porter in or a cheeky stout, like one of those coming in there. But then there'd be times where it's just battering it down with rain, where you just think, do you know what? I really want a good, strong. I've had a rubbish week at work. I just fancy a really thick, strong beer, and you're reaching for them tippers. You know what I mean? They came into the scene a couple of last year before, getting that sort of ABV, but with all the hops in them. But go back to what Dave was saying before about supermarket beers. I think it was about 4 years ago. I remember saying to my missus, we were walking down sort of one of I can't remember which supermarket it was. And that was probably the first time I'd seen sort of Brewdog beers, the little 330ml cans in the aisles. And I said, and I could get her here as witness and said, somebody needs to get on this because this is going to be massive. You could tell by putting those, it was just a shift from 24 pack of Carling for £8, 24 pack of Foster's £9. Oh, sorry, £8.50. You know what I mean? It was just it's just rack after crap. Honestly, and I said, this is going to be massive. And then when you sort of get into Instagram and you see these sort of things and you see these sort of drops going in, and you say, man, I don't remember our Asda having beers like this before. But I actually found a beer from Alpha Delta in Asda as a collab this weekend. Not last weekend, sorry. And it was just what? Do you know what I mean? It's just, and I found a Polly's Brew Co. in Marks and Spencer's. I was like, what? It's it's just gone, it's just gliding. And it's going to be, I'm going to talk about it Friday more with Dave, but it's just it just blows your mind, because if you think back to when you were younger and what you sort of drank or thought about drinking, the options that they're just spiraling at the moment. It's going to be bonkers.
I mean, I think the first time I ever tried a craft beer, so again, go back prior to when I was just drinking lagers, I actually tried a Punk IPA, and we're talking 2016, I think it was, because when I went on honeymoon, and I ordered it at the hotel. I was I'll have a Punk IPA. The night before we were jetting away, stopped to the hotel. I'll have one of them. I took one swig of it and said, don't like that. Can I have a pint of lager, please? And I left it at the bar. I hated it. I think it was disgusting. And now I've always got it in the fridge. And that's just how it's just how strange it was. I didn't like it. I was like, this is too dark. It's too heavy. And it's not as light and crisp as a lager would be. Yeah, I just left it at the bar, paid for it and left it, and just ordered whatever lager it was. I can't remember, but yeah, didn't like it. And now, yeah, love Punk IPA.
I of course, obviously got the shed, and people could start coming around to your garden and things like that. Summer, I think it was Christmas time when we were allowed down mini bubbles before Christmas. as my parents came round. And I've said it on, like, I've been on other Zoom calls and different things, and I keep saying and reiterating it. And my like point of having this and having these different beers in is to try and change people's minds a little bit about what they drink. Like, a lot of my dad's friends, a couple of people I know, drink Carling like it's going out of fashion, which it's just water at the end of the day. So no wonder they drink it like it's going out of fashion. But
Water.
it's 105% water, isn't it, Carling? We all know this. But if it's just to change somebody's mind, so my dad, he sort of started coming at Christmas time, and I'd give, like, the year before, I'd give him a few beers when we first started getting like more beers in the house, and it's like, try that, and he's like, I think I gave him Elvis juice, and he's a massive fan of grapefruit, so I gave him Elvis juice, not the stuff that they've got now because it's obviously a bit watered down, let's say, but the original stuff, I gave him that. He was like, oh, yeah, I quite like that. But have you got anything else? So I like start giving him different drinks, and then I gave him what was it now? It was just like a real ale, but it was in a bottle. I think it was from somewhere like Titanic Brewery or somewhere like that, which is not too far away. It's like Cheshire way, and it was one of their sort of pinnacle beers. It's one of their good beers, and he drank it, and he just turned to me. He goes, "I'm just thinking now, why did I waste 35 years drinking John Smith's when I could have gone and drank this looked for and drank this sort of beer?" And it's like that become a mantra. It's like, why drink all of that when there's all of this? Like, change what you're doing.
My granddad was a total different to that, though. He would drink John Smith's Stones Bitter. He was a proper old school drinker.
Pedigree.
It took him to Osborne Road, which is a decent drinking area for Newcastle. We're going out for a family meal. I took him down a bit early. I was like, I'll have a pint with me, Grandad. Grandad, you'll like this. It's called Hickey the Rake from Wylam. And he literally had the shot glass as a taster. That's shit. And he got his Smiths. And they were like, no. And I was like, we're going to be eating here. You might want to run to like Tesco's and just get a couple of cans because he's not going to have anything else.
No, it's honestly like I try and like whenever I see my dad and stuff, I try and give him a taste of whatever beers I've got going on at the minute, and he's always kind of says the same thing. He's like, "Oh, fucking no way, that's rank, not drinking it." Passes me. He drinks like fucking Budweiser and Sol, and yeah. So
whatever's cheap at Tesco's.
And I gave him a Baskerland dipper the other day, and he drank it, and he was like, "Nice that, like." And I was like, "Well, yeah, it's mine, and I've only got one, so pass it back." But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How like, older generation's probably a bad way to put it, but they're set in the ways of what type of beers they drink on, and
that's the beers that were available when they were drinking at our age. You know what I mean? That's what you've got to think. You've got to put your mind back. It's like I said, those beers now in supermarkets are. You think back to when you were like 18, 20, and you've got that available in the supermarket. Just think what it's going to be like. Like, you used to go in there and try and buy Fosters with no ID. You know what I mean? Like, just one of them things, right? It's just, and their generation was going to the pub and drinking pints of mild or slightly mild or fresh. Like, it was just, I'll have a pint of that, please. Yeah. And then these Boddingtons and, like you said, pedigrees, Basses. Well, I talked about Limestone Brewery before. They were actually built on top of what was Bent's Brewery, which was like a sub-arm of Bass before they got bought out and that sort of thing. Like, talking like the 70s, and people would just drink that stuff because can you imagine just going out and drinking? It's like 3%. Like, it's just not like, it's just not, to us, it's not beer. It's just brown liquid.
They would have had 4 things. They would have had 4 things back there. It would have been my right hand pull, my left hand pull, red wine, white wine. What do you want?
That's it. Yeah.
That's what it would have been, wouldn't it? Like,
house red.
Yeah, house red or house white. If you want to mix, it'd be rosé. Okay.
Who's ready to crack that last beer?
Yes. Good.
I am. I'm gonna be back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
The toilet break time, is it?
He drinks fast, but he just go. Mine is, as you alluded to, David, my last beer is the
Delayed second.
ever present Plum Porter from Titanic. 4.9%. It tastes like, it's just like Christmas dream in a glass, this. It just looks amazing, tastes amazing. That's pretty much all you need to know. If anybody's out there who's not tried Plum Porter, get it on your radar, because it's just a different way of drinking darker beers. Like there's a lot of trend now, like dark IPAs, dark lagers, and that sort of stuff. But realistically, you want like a dark ale. Just like Alex said before, it's like if you don't want the coffee, the vanillas, the sweet notes that they put in different beers. This has got like the fruitiness, but it's also bitter. It's just got everything. It's just And this is available freely. The brewery is a mile away from my house, and every single pub in this area has that on tap, and it's just great. And I think you mentioned before about having the there's the F43 pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have that on tap from a bar in Lichfield, and so Sam had it. My better half, she had a half of that, and I had a pint of, I think it was, I can't remember what it was now. I think it was like Balloon from Verdant, something like that. And she went, "Oh, try that." I said, "I'm going to in a minute." And then it literally went, "I'm going to get one of those." And I went straight up to the bar and I goes, "Can I have one of those as well, please?"
I'm going to put my neck on the line and say I've not tried Plum Porter.
I'm champion it.
Get it in your life.
I know
it's very good. I think it's even better on cask. And when I was at the Brandlin Arms a good while ago now, I was really championing like loads of like new kind of craft stuff coming up, and I got put in charge of ordering cask and stuff like that. And I got it in one week and thought, why not give something the punters a little bit different to just having, the only thing we had was Guinness that was going to be the same ilk, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And every time someone would order a Guinness, I was pushing them onto this and they'd try it and have it, and I'm sort of keg in like a day, pretty much.
It's just it has got that like the plum sweetness that sort of sticks around your mouth, but it's not overly sweet. You still get that dryness from it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those beers. It's like eating Christmas cake. Like it's just one of them. You want to have a little bit, nip it, but like I said, when it's on cask and it's fresh, I mean, you literally can't beat it when you go into one of these Titanic bars and you say, "Can I have a pint of Plum Porter, please?" You say, "Oh, we're just changing the keg." You're just like, "Oh, yes." Because you know that first beer out of that keg is going to, well, once they've taken a few out, because it is it misbehaves, let's say, in the pipeline. They have to wait for a little bit to get it going. But once it's going, it's amazing.
It's got so much consistency, a little bit like Doom Bar. You'll see Doom Bar everywhere because it's a class beer. You'll see shops, Atlantic up there as well, because that's a proper decent beer as well. It's like one of the kind of like the holy grail of what you would have now in a bar, which is a real testament to the drink itself, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to get on to the next beer, won't we?
Dave, what you want?
Dave,
are you drinking?
Oh, what am I on? We're on my favourite beer, the Kickabow Brewery American Pale Ale. This stuff is, I've lost weekends on this stuff. So, and it's kind of like, in fact, it's one of my, it's probably been about 2 or 3 months since I've actually had one of these. Just purely because the micro pub's not open as takeaway anymore at the minute. So I have to like travel into like Loughborough just to go and pick one up. So yeah, I've not had one for a while. And when you said, let's get local beers, I was like, I know where I'm going.
Nice.
But it's it's basically just that amber, golden, proper hoppy American Pale Ale, which is fantastic, and it won't last long. So
looks awesome, like it's crystal clear. Looks nice.
I mean, like I say, I've lost weekends on this.
Yeah.
It's just like you go there, go down the pub, quite a few pints of it, and stagger home.
Yeah.
What could be better?
It's a good session beer as well. To be fair, it's only 4.8% as well. So, you know, it's It's one of those really good tasting beers, but you can drink quite a lot of it because it's not a high ABV and you don't, get that. Well, you do get drunk on it, but not quickly.
Very sessionable, Dave. Very sessionable.
Well, you say sessionable, Dom. You know what our sessions are like, or mine.
It all depends on what you're willing to take out, what session counts as.
Yeah.
Well, I drink like a fish. I always get told off by Andy's missus that I drink too quick. And don't get me wrong, I'm trying to now, let's not drink this too quick, because...
If you can fit a fourth beer in, you'll be all right.
You review run.
I don't know what. I'm halfway down this, Dave. This is sinking. This is so good. This is sinking.
I've not tried ours yet, but it sounds right up my street. But I think Chris is going to say what the crack is with this.
So we are on Elmslie Brewing Co., which is another brewery from Newcastle, and it's Pineapple Express, which is a double IPA sitting in at 8%. Now I've tried this one before, and I was telling Hodge before we started the call, it doesn't taste like pineapple, so that's irrelevant in the name in that sense. But have you seen the film Pineapple Express?
Yeah.
It tastes like the film. It's so weedy and sticky and that type of flavouring going on. It's an absolute fucking banger. I loved it. So when Hodge said he'd grabbed this for this podcast, I was happy. Because it's spot on. You lads like it, by the way.
It's unreal. I've never had it before, and it's very nice, smooth for an 8%.
I got it for a mate down London, and I picked up the can, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get that for him." And I was like, "Is there another one?" No, shit. I was like, I'm in a right dilemma now. Do I actually send it or drink it myself and just send him 3 cans, not 4?
Keep it.
I wish I did. That's cracking. That's right up my street. Almasty do really, really good stuff. Whenever they get a hop,
mental note, I'll put them on my list.
Go for their stuff. They've done, what was it was called? Was it Blue Cheese was one?
Blue Cheese.
Dank. This is right up there. They really smash out of the park in those thicker, like you say, weedier, more resinous flavors. They really do good stuff. It's class. I need to visit their brewery. It looks class, and the beers taste really good. So nothing can go wrong there.
It's a really random spot there, isn't it? In the middle of a business park. Having this brewery in the middle of a business park. But one thing I really like about them is they do the little pine wood draft kind of, what do you call it, the badges.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are just pine wood, just a slice of the pine tree, and
as a font front, isn't it?
Burnt into it. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to get them on the podcast anyway. But when they do, so they're thick, juicy dippers are really nice. So like you were saying, there's blue cheese. There's this. They had, was it called Kush possibly?
Mm-hmm.
There's been a few, but also that core range is class, and it's a couple of pales and an IPA. And there's just the 3, and they're absolutely banging. I think Amsty are really, really underrated, but I think it's because they don't shout about it. They're just in the nicest possible way, and I do mean this in a nice way. They kind of just tick over in the background and just keep releasing stuff, and they're not necessarily a massive hype brewery or anything like that, but what they release is absolutely awesome.
How long have they been going now, Musty? Because I've not had a beer from there.
I'll tell you. I think it's been a few years.
It's quite a while.
Yeah.
Their main can line is it's like a black can. Every single one of their main producers is a black can, but it's just the last kind of 6th is either pink, yellow. Is it green? The last one, I think. Pink, yellow, green. They're just it kind of stands out in its own thing because you think, oh, it's a bit understated, but that's how they, what Chris was saying, that's how they go about things. They never go, this is our new blah, blah. They just go, here it is. And you go, we just know you'll like it. And you just go, great, next, bring another one out. That's
that one.
Yeah. No, it is, they're a cracking brewery, to be fair.
There's a new brewery that's kicked in the last few months, Lichfield, which is about 40 minutes from where I am. Trinity Brew Co. Have you heard those guys? Yeah.
Heard of them. I've not tried any of that stuff.
I would recommend you get hold of their, I think it's called Slice of Gold, if you can, but they're doing a new version of that with Strata as the main hop for it. honestly, if it goes on that one beer alone, that brewery is worth keeping an eye on, because he's actually John. I've been on a few like Zoom calls, and the guy he's like I've made a mild, like that's what I want to make, and that's what I'm brewing, and people are just like, this is great beer, like so yeah, keep your eye out for them. I'm still trying to, you know, that thing, you're trying to source these beers, you're like, can I get hold of this one? Can I get hold of this one? I managed to get hold of like a couple of beers from Glass House. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen those yet.
I have, but they're another one that I haven't tried, and I really
yeah,
want.
It's one of those things. It's just like I had one that I managed to get hold of, and it was really good. Full of pine, full of like resinous sort of. It just stuck to your mouth, like it's that sort of beer that you were saying, David. It was like it just stuck to your mouth, and it was just like super. So I just like, right, I've managed to get hold of 2 more. So, and then there's a couple from a place called Attic, which these are mainly all Birmingham-based breweries that I've managed. I've just literally gone, I'll have that. Just let me just try it, just see. It's just one of those. So.
Like a kid in a sweet shop, man. Like a kid in a sweet shop.
I don't know about you guys, but kind of there's quite a lot of these kind of, I guess, more like you say, nano breweries popping up around the place, just brewing beers which they love to drink themselves.
Yep.
And I found that we've had a couple on our podcast recently, and they're some of the best beers I think I've ever drunk. And it's just, you can just see the love of that kind of style of beer coming through, and it's kind of just blown my mind how good they are. And if they just keep focusing on that.
I managed to get hold of this. Have you seen? I don't know if you can see that on the camera. But
Yeah.
Future State.
Yeah.
I managed, because it's all subscription based, because they basically only brew so many beers. So I managed to get hold of 2 beers from them, and it's just like, you can tell they really like this super new nano brewery. It's just like, it's not for. There's no sell by date on these beers. It's just a label on the top. It's just there's no. It's just like consume straight away. If you can.
Just drink it.
Just drink it. And there was 2 beers I had from them. One was a Dipper, and one was I think it was just a normal IPA. But their motto is like 80s synth mixing and stuff like that. And it's just like the beers I had, that the Want Something in Paradise. It was at 8% double IPA, and again, it was just you could just tell it was made with love in somebody's garage. Or I think they make it in some sort in like a shed, like probably too dissimilar to this, and it's just literally like just on a small unit, made up, rolled in the can machine, and just shipped out. And it was just like one came, and there was like a slight leak on the can lid, obviously where the seal hadn't quite sealed properly. But I was like, oh crap, that's straight away. I've got to drink that before it gets too. And it, honestly. You can find these nano breweries, like these tight niches. The ones that I ordered today were from a place called Copper Beach in, I want to say Northampton, but it might be wrong. It might be Kidderminster. I might have got my breweries mixed up. But again, they've got 4 beers that they basically make in a pub shed in their garden. And it's just
that's your next calling. It's coming.
You've got
it.
That's it. I keep playing with the idea. I mean, I've got some great names for beers, but I can't put them out there. But it's just one of them where I'd love to have a go at it. But it's just, I think I haven't got the patience.
We had a go at the you can do the Punk IPA homebrew kit. I got bought that for my birthday one year by a friend of ours, and we did it. I don't get me wrong, we were a little bit drunk when we was doing it, but we brewed this like Punk IPA kit at home. Boiled it and made the mash, and then it was just leave it in a dark room somewhere. So I was like, well, I'll just leave it in the garage, and then we left it there for like 2 weeks, and then I was like, come round here with, we're like, oh, we'll have a night on the session drinking it. We had to mix it with lemonade just to make it taste a little bit nice. It didn't taste anything like Punk IPA. I don't know what we did, but whatever we did, it wasn't what we're supposed to have done. I mean, the end effect was there, but it just had to be mixed with lemonade because it was absolutely vile. We almost had to like sieve it into the glass, and how thick it was.
I've not tried home brewing, because I'll end up either killing somebody or poisoning
yourself.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. But we had, when we're talking about like brewing in like pub sheds and all that, we had Three Hills on the podcast, didn't we? A couple of weeks back, and they've got somewhere else as of last year, was it? They've opened another place where they're brewing from, but before that,
Bermondsey.
They're opening in Bermondsey, yeah.
But before that, they were brewing out of the head, like the owner's garage, and they put a picture on Instagram the other week, and it was literally, it just looked like my street, just on the drive, and it was just full of barrels, and they were just barrel aging all this stuff. And I was like, you can just tell they just love what they do, you know what I mean? And it's just, they do it for the love of it, and it comes across in the beers like it does, because they were class beers from Three Hills. If you've not tried them, I
did a beer tasting not last weekend before, mystery beer tasting.
Oh, is this Liam?
Yeah, it was, and the last one was Three Hills. I forget what it was now. It's the DV. What is DP?
BPAVK.
That's it. One of those. And I just went. It's just one of those where you taste it. I mean, you wouldn't like it, Dave, with it being dark beer and all.
Was it black?
Just like, oh, this is good. And then because the other half sitting on the sofa down there, and I said, try that. So I put a third of the glass. He went, ooh, that's good. I said, yes, converted.
Their Imperial Stout ranges, it's outrageous. I had a fudge brownie one from them, and it honestly and I know it sounds stupid, but it literally tasted like melted fudge brownies in a glass. It was just
bonkers.
It was crazy.
I just bought the mixed sours were really good as well. Yeah, we had that easy one on our podcast, and it was interesting, but it was so drinkable and so refreshing. I thought it was.
I just bought that barrel aged one from S43. You know, the bottle that they've done, that EXC whatever.
Yeah.
So I've got that at some point too.
Is it fully wax covered? Because I've seen you do your release thing for it. Is it all wax?
It's not just wax top. It's like the whole thing's just. I just when I unboxed it, I just went, how am I going to open this?
Melt it.
I'm just going to. We'll have to. No, let's get a sword.
We're just gonna promote our own home brewing. This is our homebrewed cider, limited edition. There's only 3 bottles left.
I've got 2 bottles left.
So we've got 5 bottles.
5 bottles. Hey, send
£500 a bottle.
I've got a rhubarb only as well, which is good.
We can do an Instagram live.
But there's so much carbonation in there, it will fizz.
Lads,
we can do a beer tasting night, can't we? Done.
Sure, yeah.
It's not worth the postage and packaging, I'll tell you that.
Do you know what? There's a guy that I followed on Instagram called, I think his Instagram's called Griff Graham. He's from Leeds, and he home brews, and he's actually sent me a few of his home brews, and they were fantastic beers. It was just like, I think his dream is to be a brewer one day and have his own brewery and stuff. But he was just like messing about with different recipes and stuff. And he was just like sending them out to a few people that he knew. And he got sending me down. So I was thinking, these beers are fantastic. And I'm like, you need to start selling these and stuff like that. And he was just like, well, I'm only doing it at home in my kitchen and stuff. I was like, but already you're a fantastic brewer. Like, he's buying the best, like, malt hops and all that kind of stuff. I was just thinking, you know, and say some of the beers, I would have thought I'd have bought these more. You know, but unfortunately, he doesn't sell them.
All we need to do is find one pub and just be like, look, I've got a bit of this. Yeah. Like, if you sell it, I'll just, rather than like try and get something up front, just be like, give us 50% of whatever you sell and put it on cheap and see how it kind of goes. And then he just needs to grow from there, really. Take a step.
It was like Hodge and Alex, you know Coppers, the bottle shop. Well, Drew, the owner, was saying few months ago now, he quite fancied getting some homebrewers stuff in and then like selling it in there and asking whoever bought it to bring honest feedback back to give back to the brewer. And he would they would just sell it like dead cheap. And I thought that was a class idea. It's not come off yet because, you know, with I think with COVID and everything, he's been a bit cautious, but I think it'll be I think that's a good idea because then it gets the home brewer's name out there, and if it's absolutely awesome, like you can get it back in another time, can't you?
big shout out to Drew because he's mad as a box of frogs. Like he's
That's
crackers, but he's the best lad ever. Like he's up for anything, man. It's class.
he's a good laugh. Like he's got so his bottle shop's got a beer garden out the back, and it's just it's unreal. Like, and he gets got like food vendors every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that. And it's a good place, like, and a good selection.
I've got because I work for a spirit company. I've got an event hopefully coming up with Drew at his place. And when I first went in and spoke to him, he was like, "Oh, so where are you from then? Blah, blah, blah. What do you do?" And I was like, "Well, we're really trying to push tequila." He goes, "I love it. Yes, get it in. However, we'll store this. Tacos and tequila, blah, blah." And just started going mad. He goes, "I love it. I just smash it doing. Get in." I'm like, right.
Did he just pull a sombrero out from under the counter and just go, "Arriba"?
He goes, "I just want people wearing sombreros. I want everything like."
No, he's good. He's a good laugh. I've got a lot of time for Drew. He's
mint, like, he's so good.
Talking to tequila, then, what's going off beer, lads? What other go-to drinks, alcohol-wise, would you go to other than beer? So I'd probably hit up. I love wine, and I'm starting to get back into cider now as well. What about you lot?
Does like everything behind me.
I've got a rums cupboard. I've got a gin shelf. I've got house spirits for those unappreciative guests. But to be honest, I really do like still the gin and tonic. It's one of those things where, you know, like before all this, like flavoured gin, like the whole thing just like it just erupted, didn't it, for everybody? Like, oh yes, I like a gin and tonic. I used to have it when it was still called Mother's Ruin. You know what I mean? Like it's just plain up, full of junipers, bang taste, loads of like spice up front, and then just mellowed out. And actually, there's a company nearby. I'm going to plug them because I can.
Here we go.
£6.
We've all seen this one.
Look at this. It's just ceramic bottle, and that is as old-fashioned as you get. It's literally just straight up, full on juniper bite, loads of like spice, and then it just disappears. And it's just like I've got flavoured gins that I don't mind saying. Like there's a company near, like even closer to in Newcastle, Newcastle and Lime is in, which they've got like a bar there that they brew in the back. Like, I've not been there yet, so I can't really pass comment like what it's actually like. But yeah, I think gin and tonic is still one that I'd go to where you just sit, chill, just chuck a load of ice in a glass, and that would be it really. But the better off, she would definitely go for. She's got every single colour of these dead man's fingers, including a new one.
Be careful there! Be careful! That's me rivals.
She's got everything. She's got a new one which is banana flavoured, which I'm a bit apprehensive about. I'm not sure banana and beers go, because I've had bad experience at festivals. Do you know
Why? What have you been doing, bananas?
Give me years, Dave. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
I think anything apart from Sambuca.
I love a gin and tonic. Like it's there's something about a gin and tonic in the summer that just hits right. Dave, what about you, mate? What's your other go-tos?
To be fair, yeah, my tickle's rum. So spiced rum. So Sailor Jerry's, Old J, which is what used to be the old Sailor Jerry's recipe, which is probably a bit better than what Sailor Jerry's is. But like, and Dead Man's Finger.
Is there another one out there you could think of?
Go on, mate. Go on.
I'm not saying Captain Morgan's because I drink that too much. No, to be fair, I've also got. I don't like Kraken rum because I don't like dark spiced rum. I don't like. Again, it's probably just the.
Can you kick him or what? Is that allowed?
Well, I mean,
We'll just cut that bit out, won't we?
I have never bought a bottle of Kraken rum ever because I tried it once and I didn't like it. But
same with dark beers, Dave. I
don't like dark beers.
You've just got to get with it. You've just got to go with it.
No, I'll drink Dead Man's Finger. But I mean, don't get me wrong. The only reason why I drink Dead Man's Finger is because it's technically, well, it's not from, but the guys who own Dead Man's Finger own a restaurant in St Ives in Cornwall called the Rum and Crab Shack, and it is probably one of the best little restaurants ever in there. So when we went there a couple of years ago, there's Gamma Ray, Beaver Town on tap, and they're just selling crab and fish cake. It was fantastic little restaurant, like proper little rough pub that you're thinking about. This is an absolute dog hole in there, but it's like the best food, the best beers on there that you can get on tap, and just full of their own rum. So
I'm actually down to Cornwall in a couple of weeks. I'll have to go.
Yeah, well, we're going St Ives in July as well, actually. So we'll be definitely going in there because it's dog friendly as well. So happy days.
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
But no, yeah, I mean rum, and my little like secret that nobody really knows about is Strongbow dark fruits. I love the stuff. Like literally, we'll session dark fruits most of the evening. So I'll like have like a few beers and then I'll dark fruits, then more beers.
Dave, I always keep a few cans of the Strongbow Cloudy Apple in.
That's the shit.
I mean,
That's
Rattler cider is the one. Anything Cornish, scrumpy cider, cloudy, hazy cider, I'm down for that.
Dave, just tell them what it was like when we did our live with ciders.
Henry Weston's is not good. we did a
1 hour Saturday right off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do. Cornish proper scrumpy like ciders I will drink, but the dark fruits are kind of my like in between. Instead of drinking water, I'll drink dark fruits.
Dark fruits is like drinking Cavonia, man. It's horrible.
Yeah, I can totally agree with you. It gives you really bad acids. It does nothing for you. It's disgusting. But the only thing it does do is quench a thirst for me. You know, like when you've had quite a few craft beers and stuff, you think, I am actually a little bit thirsty. I'll just drink a dark fruit.
Mm.
But that's the secret that nobody knows about. So don't
keep it shut.
Cut that bit out.
For the sheer fact that you've upset Hodge because he works for Crack and Rum, we're keeping it in.
But do you know what? So, Hodge, do you know about obviously you probably know about where you can, if you're like a bar or anything, you can sign up for a Kraken, like on the website, you can get a POS and all that stuff. Yeah, I tried to do that and then got found out.
Yeah. They vetted quite well because everybody basically tried to register their house as a bar.
Yeah, I
get
did.
Loads of bar stuff.
But Dave, you've got a bar. That's a bit weird, isn't it?
Well, I did, and I actually gained points by doing these other things that you have to do on the website.
Yeah.
And to gain that many points, I actually tried to order loads of stuff, and like I think I tried to order a hoodie and some glasses or something.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love the glasses, and I love the imagery of the Kraken and all that kind of stuff, and all this the pirate side of it all.
Yeah, the clay bottles is what you need, Dave. If you have a Kraken.
There's a whole coming.
Wait,
hold on,
because hold on.
I want you to drink it now. I want you to screw that top off and neck it now, and it'll be all good.
Get it drunk. He's going to as well.
You're going to do it.
You'll change your life, Dave.
It will change your life. I'll say all is forgiven.
Get in.
That's disgusting. I've got work at 6:30 tomorrow morning.
Oh, you'll be fine.
All is forgiven. Shall we hit some quick fire questions while we're finishing off here? Lads, I think we should answer them this time round as well because we haven't on our previous podcast. We've just let guests answer them, so we'll answer them as well. Let's go. Favourite beer style, Andy?
Mine is I'm chucked up between actually two types, which is just a plain IPA or West Coast IPA is for me.
Cool. Dave?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to go exactly the same. Dunn knows what I like. West Coast IPAs and strong, good IPA. Double IPAs. I like a double IPA.
Nice. Alex?
I feel like double IPA as well. I think there's so much variation out there. You can't really, there's some very, very good ones out there. You can't go wrong.
Hodge?
I like a deeper, and I like a more of an old school West Coast IPA that just grabs you and slaps you out with some hops and then throws you back.
For me, I would say a very, very well done West Coast, like palate shredding bitterness. If you ask us at this very, very moment in time, probably a craft lager. Beer of the year so far, if you've got one. Andy?
I had in a blind tasting last week, and it was close. There's two triple IPAs. It's the Polly's Unexpecting. I can't remember the name of it. It's got like a really multicolored camera. Yeah. There's that, and there's S43's Freehold, which that beer, I had that for Beer with the Craft Views podcast birthday treat, their box that they sent. They sent a sour pod and that like you could buy. But that Freehold from S43 was absolutely amazing. It just got everything you needed. It was for a tipper, like it's got to be thick. It's got to be, you can't taste the ABV in it. It's got all the sort of resonance in it. It's just, they were really good beers. So it's kind of tied really between those two for me.
Cool. Dave?
Do you know what? Two beers that stand out. Two beers, because I can't choose between, is S43 Pretty Fly with the Offspring rip-off logo, and the Phantom Brewery Feeling this beer from Blink, or rip-off of Blink. I think it's only because the can artwork, but I think the Feeling this one probably stood out a bit more, which is a standard pale ale at 5%. It was just an easy drinking, really hoppy, tasty beer, which was fantastic, which I've ordered more today, so the wife doesn't know yet.
Good testament to it,
a
isn't it?
A lot more. Jordan literally messaged me, was like, dude, have you seen what they've brought out? Yep, £40 later, Dave's ordered more.
Alex, what about you, bud?
So again, it's probably between two, but one which kind of blew my mind was an IPA from Garage called Chasing Cottontails. Hodgie knows I'm a huge fan of Garage, and I think they're probably one of the best breweries out there at the minute. And it just blew my mind, just the complexity and the depth of flavour they had in this IPA. I think it was only about 5%, so quite strong for an IPA, but they were new experimental hops. I can't remember what they were off the top of my head, but just the flavour in it was unreal.
Nice. Hodge?
The rest of the set for Garage that Alex gave us, the Vice was crazy good. Like it was as close as to what you want from a Vice. It had a nice banana nature to it, and a good kind of like clove flavour to it there, and then the Nipa that they did as well. So anything from Garage right now is
I had Garage is it Soup, the double IPA last year.
Triple C.
Yeah. They do good stuff.
Nice. For me, I'd have to say my current beer of the year is probably again between two, but they're both from the same brewery. And you lads will probably roll your eyes, but it's from Wylam. It's either put a dank on it, double IPA, or the latest double IPA, which was Revenge of the Sticky Bud, and it was just
class.
Silly.
What about Drongo's? Drongo's is out of this world.
So Drongo's is 100% my favourite single IPA probably I've ever had. It's absolutely spectacular.
They kind of have multiple categories. You've said like, what's going on here? Well, I can list off so many.
No, you've got a favourite beer.
It's like a craft beer website now, Hodge. He's like, for my IPA of the year, for my Ghost, for my sour, for my stout, for my porter.
Don't start them off. You'll just keep going now. Like
I will. I've got one lined up for every.
What about your barrel aged beer of the year?
And then final question: Go on, Hodge. I'll let you ask this one because and I like asking it.
It's a great question. What is your favourite meal deal? Can be from anywhere, absolutely anywhere. It doesn't have to be a supermarket. It can be whatever.
Yeah, even. There's
Yes,
some
the
thought going into this.
there's meal deals and then there's meal deals, if you know what I mean. Like, there's a meal deal that we stick to at our work. Is we have this thing we call it the Boots Crew, because we always go for a Boots meal deal. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's a bit upmarket. If you go for a Boots meal deal, how posh are you?
We are posh.
We go Tesco or Co-op.
I mean, there's and then there's a meal deal when you just like, you know what, I really fancy just going Aldi. You know what I mean? It's just one of them where you just go, it's not a meal deal as such, but I can get everything at once for £2.
And an iron board and a lawnmower.
Yeah,
and a beer.
And if you're lucky, there's something in the special buys you might actually think at some point you might need.
Yeah.
So are you going for Aldi?
Yeah.
So just Aldi, just anything from Aldi, mint.
Fair enough.
Dave?
Do you know what? I'm going to go for a Co-op meal deal, only because instead of a bag of crisps for your snack, you can have a Cornish pasta
As a snack?
Yeah, so you can get a sandwich, a Cornish pasta, and a drink for £3.50. I'm all over that.
That's not bad, that.
Hey, do you know what? When we do our Instagram lives on a Friday, I have to have quite a lot of bread, substanced, because it gets a little bit out of hand. Not just during the live, it's the aftermath. But we then start drinking stronger beers and more. So I need a full stomach for that. So Cornish pasties for £3.50 with a sandwich and a drink. I'm all over that one.
Did you have that today then?
Oh no. We had just an ham cob. That's it. Because I didn't expect to be necking a little bottle of rum. So there might be a can of Red Bull involved in tomorrow morning's trip to work.
Who's next, Dave?
Alex?
Okay, so yeah, mine's a Tesco meal deal. Like going and just basically a game against Tesco. How much can you make off this meal deal? I think £6.50 for £3 is my highest so far, and I'm very proud. Very, very
I like it. Chris?
If we're going supermarket meal deal, I would say.
There's no categories. There's not like restaurant. There's not supermarket.
Sticking with
Deli, Greg's.
Like a Tesco or Co-op, and it'll be like a chicken and sweet corn sandwich, crisps, and maybe I'm going to be dead boring and say a bottle of water or a bottle of Diet Coke. Yeah.
I'll go
all out.
I'll go for Tesco's as well, just to see how much I can take the piss. Plus, they've got a really good variety of like wraps.
I can't believe none of you lads have gone for Greg's.
They don't do a meal deal. They don't do a meal deal.
They do a drink for 40p if you buy a sandwich. But that's not a meal deal. There's no crisps. There's no donut.
There's no snack involved.
It's not really a meal deal, is it? Like,
throw a Cornish pasty in there for £3.50, and we'd be there every day. But
next time you go to a Co-op, you'll see it. The Gangsters Cornish pasty is £3.50 meal deal. You don't mind spending the extra 50p for a Cornish pasty, because if you're clever, you take a bag of crisps to work with you.
I'm not sure the 5 mile drive is worthwhile there, unfortunately.
Right, lads, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for everyone who's listening, as always. And we'll see you on the other side, man. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. See you in a bit.
Cheers.